You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
I am your Superintendent, Jason Manuel. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence.
We would like to kick off the show with some student spotlights, highlighting some of the amazing students that make up our schools. We'd like to welcome Ben Leonard, Honors Academy student. Welcome, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about your experience with the Honors Academy.
Sure. So coming in from middle school, I knew that in high school it was a time to get involved, and I didn't want to wait for such a long time to do it or put it off. So I decided that a new organization, or a fairly new organization, I should join was the Honors Academy. It just sounded like a great opportunity for service and for making friends that had similar interests as I did. And so I joined, and I also applied for a council position after my ninth grade year, and that was just an interview process and an essay. And it's been a very positive experience going through high school.
Would you say that it helps you with your leadership, give you some leadership experience, and how did that help you?
Definitely, I would say so. The Honors Academy, I've helped organize different service projects, and I've also spoken in front of large crowds on a regular basis, which is not something that many people get to do, but I feel like being comfortable talking to a crowd is a very valuable skill to have,
Absolutely.
Especially when you start interviewing for colleges, and just saying that you have that experience and being able to talk and communicate with people, I think, is a very vital skill to have.
So if you had to boil it down to one thing that you would give advice to a freshman coming in to Houston High School, what would you tell them about the Honors Academy?
I would say definitely join the Honors Academy. It's not scary. It's not anything like that. Don't be scared of writing an essay. I would say also for freshmen, join clubs that interest you, and don't join clubs just to join clubs. Have a purpose and with everything that you do, and then once you're in the club, don't just be a normal member. Try to get involved, try to do something more, try to get other people involved, and I think through that you can get the most out of your high school experience.
Have there been some clubs or classes that really had a meaningful impact on you that you can think back and you remember those?
Sure. I think club-wise, Honors Academy is a big one. And then through that, I was able to get involved through some other volunteer service stuff. I think for classes, my 11th grade English class was very, it was just a great class in that Mr. Travers was teaching you English, but he was also kind of helping you see the world. We had outside world news every day, and so you kind of got to see how different events cause other events, and so it was just it was more than an English class, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So I think one of the goals of the Honors Academy is to really prepare you so that when you're getting ready to go off to a university or go off to a military service, that you are prepared for that. And one of the ways they do that is through the Capstone Project. So tell us a little bit about your Capstone Project.
Absolutely. So I was contacted by a former teacher, Miss Phipps. She was teaching STEM at the middle school at the time, and she knew me from 6th grade English, which I took from her, and also I had helped mentor the middle school STEM club before a little bit, just because I had gone to the Naval Academy summer STEM program, and she knew I was...
Slow down for us. So everyone may not know what STEM is. I think educators and students know what STEM.
Sure.
So what is STEM?
Sure. STEM is just science, technology, engineering, and math.
Okay.
Just those core subjects. And so I helped mentor that club just a little bit, and then she wanted to bring me back on for my capstone project. And she said, we're trying to plan a summer camp under the theme, Watch Out Mars, Here We Come, can we get you involved? And I said, absolutely, and can I use it for my capstone project? And she said, yeah, it's a great idea. So I just helped organize the events and the speakers, and then during the week, I brought in about 30 volunteers from the Honors Academy to help me, about 7 per day. It was a 5-day-long camp, and then during the week I taught just a basic course on rockets. And so after I showed them a short video, explained some basic concepts, and then we got to building model rockets.
Wow. So did you compare and compete? Was there a competition to see who could build the best rocket, or the distance, or the height?
There was. We did both of those. So for our first one, we just launched the rockets to see how far they could go. And then they would change their design if it didn't go far enough. And then we also tried to we tried to land them in trash cans. These were just rockets out of little straws. They made rockets out of little straws. So
with an air propellant that projects
right,
it.
exactly.
I think when I was probably your age, I don't think I knew exactly what I was going to do when I got into college, and you probably don't either. But do you have certain interests that you really are kind of going towards, or?
I'm not sure yet. I just think that so many things interest me at the moment that I'm just trying to apply to as many schools that have those interest areas as I can, so that I have plenty of options. Because as time progresses through my senior year, I think I'll probably have a better idea of what I want to do. But right now, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
So when you're talking about those interests, so obviously there's got to be some STEM interest for you, so that must be something you find entertaining. You talked about your English class and getting to see different perspectives and connections in society. What other AP classes really interest you, and maybe something that you might go into?
Sure. So I've had a great experience with all of my AP classes. I've especially liked the AP Englishes, the AP Spanish, and then I'm also in Physics 2, which is it's a harder class, but I really enjoy it because with science and math, it doesn't come easily to everybody, but if you sit down and you try to focus on it, it can really help you think better about different problems, and it can help you solve those problems more creatively. So I've enjoyed that through studying physics and the maths and the sciences.
Wow. So you may do something that involves physics and a foreign language.
I don't know.
Well, I think we're all looking forward to see what you choose.
Thank you.
After the break, we will talk with Teresa Price, Director of Academics, for a close-up view of the new math curriculum and what the Germantown Municipal School District is doing to prepare its students for the changes.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 68 children is diagnosed with autism. That's about a 30% increase in 2 years. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I am Superintendent Jason Manuel.
And I am Mason Grace, and you are watching GMSD's Spotlight on Excellence.
We are discussing the new math curriculum with Teresa Price, the Director of Academics. Welcome, Ms. Price.
Thank you.
Well, I think there have been considerable changes in math instruction from the state level and even nationally. So when you're seeing that impact on students in our district, how do you explain those changes, and just give us an overview of what's happening with this new math curriculum?
Well, we have a new assessment coming, and it's been a big push across the nation. Our school system, or our actual state, adopted the TN Ready assessment. And that assessment requires students to do a lot more with math than just procedurally answering questions and coming up with an answer. So to meet those strenuous needs, we've got to prepare our students to be able to answer high-level questions, be able to explain the answers. And so we looked at new curriculum. It was textbook adoption year for math, and the state puts out a list and we can choose from that list. We put a committee together and we did rubrics. Our teachers did rubrics on those different math curriculum, and we landed on a new one that we feel like is going to take our students well beyond where they've ever been with math.
Now, historically with the test in Tennessee, the TCAP proficiency test, it was a multiple choice test. How is the Tennessee Ready test different than the standard TCAP test?
The TCAP test was multiple choice, and there will be some multiple choice on the new TN Ready, but it will also have technology enhanced questions, which our students will have to manipulate graphs, they'll have to drag and drop, they'll have to choose more than one answer. So we need to prepare our students to be able to really problem solve and be able to dig in and get dirty with the math.
And you've probably touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the benefits of going to this new curriculum, adopting a new curriculum?
There's this word out there just buzzing around called rigor, and there are three things when you think about rigor. And part of that is having the fluency with math facts, fluency with numbers, and then a piece of that is also being able to conceptually understand why you're doing those things with numbers, not just do it because you're told, carry the 1. Well, it's not really 1, it's a 10. And so we've never really broken those things down for students. So this really lets our students understand why and be able to use math in other areas and understand where the connection is going to be at that later time with algebra. And then really, when they're career and college ready, it's going to take them much farther.
So we're teaching them how to understand the concepts rather than just memorize formulas.
Correct. Not just come up with an answer, but why that answer is what it is.
Okay. And of course, with benefits always comes challenges too. So what do you see as the challenges for adopting?
Time. Time is always always the issue. And we were able to purchase the curriculum July 1. And in a great world, we would have had it back in the spring, and teachers would have been able to look at it all summer and plan with it. We were able to train our teachers in the summer, and so they're just now getting really used to that curriculum and what pieces to use and when to come in with something different. And that all just takes time and getting used to new materials, new math manipulatives, when and where to use those. So I think our biggest challenge right now is just time.
When we talk about the rigor and we talk about the change and how they're demonstrating their math, I think examples are always helpful for us. Do you have some examples that we could really talk about and see so our parents can understand what we're really dealing with?
I did. We did bring some examples today. And
I think we were asked to actually work a problem, right?
You were.
We had some homework, so we've done our homework now. Okay. The problem was, you remember I think we had, I think that it was that we had 21 pencils, right? And that we had to figure out, we had to break them into 3 parts, right?
Correct.
And we had to draw a picture, and then we had to figure out a formula, and then we had to solve for that.
Correct.
Is that right?
That is it.
Okay.
You got it. So 21 pencils and put them in 3 groups, and so we just wanted to see how each of us might attack that problem.
And really how many groups of 3. And I was really surprised. I thought that all of our answers would be similar in the way that we solve the problems. And there is some similarity, there's some overlap between the way that we solve the problem, but I think everybody did it in a different way or showed it in a different way. So who do you want to go first? You want me to do mine first?
I will.
Yeah.
I will, just because I took it very literal. So I actually drew pencils, was my way of doing it, and that's the way I think, I guess. So I drew 21 pencils, then I broke them into 3, every third one, groups of 3. And so I was easily able to come up with 7 groups. But then I did write the formula, and we had to use a variable too. I forgot to mention that. So my formula was 3 times x equals 21, and then solve for x, which equaled 7. So that's what I did.
And did you actually use division? I think you have 21 divided by 3.
Yeah, 21 divided by 3.
7.
Right.
Mine was a little bit different. I actually numbered the pencils 1 through 21, and I circled the groups of 3, and then I numbered how many groups I would have, so you could see that if I wasn't solving it algebraically, that I had 7 groups of 3. But when I did, I think this was the first way that you learned algebra. When we were little kids, I actually used a box to show a number times 3 equals 21, and so then I filled in for 7. So n equals 7 is my variable.
So you used multiplication, kind of division, but you used
Yes.
your math facts.
Yes.
And then I did part, whole. So I started with my whole and broke it into my 7 parts of 3s. And ended up with division because I took my whole and divided it into 7 parts and 3 in each part. And so I ended up with my division problem. 21 divided by 3 equals P, which is the part.
So on the Tennessee Ready test, would students be given, I guess, a blank slate or a problem, or would they be shown examples?
All those things will occur. Sometimes it'll be a problem and which one is the correct answer, or which one's the correct equation, or make an equation for this problem, never even asking you for the answer, just wanting to see the equation. Sometimes you're going to get a box and you're going to have to create whatever it is you're doing. So there's so many different ways that they're going to be looking at, do our students really understand and can use math? The other good news is that there'll be partial credit. So on some of those technology enhanced questions or questions where it requires a little more thinking and maybe even a sentence about explain your answer, there comes a rubric. So it opens up a window for some of our students who struggle, who may only understand parts of it, where they'll get credit for those parts.
So I think a lot of times in my classes, there was one way to do things. And if you didn't follow that formula exactly, you would get counted off. So we obviously have 3 different ways we did it, 3 different drawings. So what's the advantage, what's the benefits of having multiple representations from students?
Flexibility. When we get up into the upper math classes in the high school, algebra, geometry, calculus, all those things that sound very scary to our students, when we're able to take numbers, manipulate them, experiment with them, try them out, try them in different ways, we grow in that flexibility. So when we take a problem just similar to this and we add variables to it, we've done it so many times and manipulated those numbers, pulled them apart, put them back together, it doesn't look foreign. It looks very simple. When we try to break down a number and it's 57 and we break it into, let's just say, 10s and 1s, then when I see it with X's and P's next to each other, it makes sense. I can see the numbers, I understand what the numbers are, and now I can be flexible with them.
Well, I think we're all excited to see how our students grow through this process. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ms. Price. And when we return from the break, we will have a 3rd grade math teacher, Ashley Rotenberry. She'll be joining us in the studio for this month's teacher feature. Please stay with us.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I'm Superintendent Jason Manuel, and you're watching GMSD Spotlight on Excellence. We want to spend our last moments highlighting an exemplary teacher in a new segment we will be calling the Teacher Feature. With us today is Ashley Rotenberry, who teaches 3rd grade at Farmington Elementary School. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, so there have been some changes in the math curriculum, right? So what are you seeing? What kind of differences are you seeing in student learning in your classroom?
Well, it's only been 9-10 weeks into it, and it is absolutely fantastic going. My students in my classroom are thinking so much more critically about the problems they're given. They're able to take concepts of numbers and they're able to apply them throughout multi-step problems. And not only are they able to apply those skills, they're able to explain what they're doing. So many times in math, we used to teach just procedures. These are the steps that we're doing, and that's it. There's no reason why all the time. But now they understand why they're doing what they're doing. I wanted to talk about an example. We've been studying multiplication. We always taught multiplication in isolation. It was only taught, and you just learned your facts, and then you learned steps to multiply 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. Now, we taught multiplication, division at the same time, and then we threw in what is the commutative property and what is the distributive property. And our kids got it. They can break down a multiplication problem that's huge in order to solve a problem. So one of my students yesterday was doing 24 times 3. And they said, well, I know that 20 times 3 would be 60, and 3 times 4 is 12. Therefore, the answer is 72. So they're just able to really focus in and understand what they're learning.
Wow. So actually can explain it and not just the formula.
I think we're experiencing some growing pains because we're hearing a lot from parents who are concerned, and they're saying, ooh, this is so much harder, and I don't know really how to show my child how to do this because this is different than the way that I learn multiplication or division. How would you answer those parents? How can they help their children solve these problems or really be successful in your classroom?
So a lot of parents come and they're like, this is new math. And I laugh and I'm like, well, it's not really new math necessarily. It's the same math. The answer is still 24. It's just a different way to think about it when you're done. To take 24 and really explain how you got your answer. And I tell a lot of my parents, your student, your child is actually going to be helpful. They are sitting in these math classes every day and they are learning and they know what they're doing. And they can actually show you. So when in doubt, ask your child, well, why did you do that? Or explain to me, how do you know how to do that? And they will be able to explain so much more. I also try to encourage my parents to shift the way they're thinking. For me as a teacher, I had to shift the way I was thinking. I've taught this way, I learned this way, but now I have to do it a different way. And the connections that even I as an adult am making are incredible. But I had to take and say, okay, the way I learned was great, but now we've got new things coming down. We've got new tests. Our kids are being asked to think critically. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to see this is fantastic. Like their knowledge of math now and concepts is amazing. So really, their kids are a really great help.
And where can parents go for help, or what can they do to get help on this stuff if they want to understand it more themselves?
So there is their teacher. I tell my parents, I'm like, email me all the time, send me a text. I get a lot of those, like help. Also, I know as teachers, we were given the actual Eureka Parent Helpline. Mm-hmm. And so there is some communication that can be given through Eureka to help these parents actually understand why they're learning, give an example, and then explain, well, why is this important and why are they learning it this way?
Wow. Okay.
I think one of the good things about being a teacher is that it's ever changing. Mm-hmm. And it's different than when I started teaching. We have PLCs, which are professional learning communities. And part of that is the focus on data that y'all meet. How often do y'all meet at Farmington with your third grade teachers?
We meet once a week, mm-hmm. every Thursday for about an hour.
Is it all the third grade teachers together?
All of the third grade teachers. We come together as third grade teachers, and then we split because we're departmentalized. Mm-hmm. So we split into our core subjects and even discuss them.
And y'all are looking at student progress on common assessments, or what do you look at when you're in that PLC?
So when we're there, we take our students, we give them a pretest, or what we call a CFA, mm-hmm. A common formative assessment. We take it and we look at those numbers. We give it beforehand. We actually just gave one this week on our new module that we've started. So we're able to take that and say, okay, they know this. This year we are experiencing that they don't know it because the wording and the questions look different. Mm-hmm. However, when we're giving our end or our post-test, as a lot of people call it, or our CSA, we have seen so much growth. Children that didn't understand are performing to where we need them to. Even just the connections, it's just amazing how this is working and the instruction and the curriculum is helping.
And then also we combine that with Easy CBM, which is another benchmark test that's more formal than the pre-test, post-test you're using in your class. Y'all have had one so far. Did you see a difference in results this year compared to last year in your results?
We did. We actually have seen both in our third grade for the beginning and the end, we did actually see a lot of growth. And even students that were still flagged on their end of the year test from second grade, we've already seen improvement in them. And they have actually scored that tier 1 level, so which is right where we need them to be.
So tier 1, so we'll go into how we provide remediation, how we really reinforce student progress. So if a student is struggling and they're not mastering those concepts that you're seeing on that common assessment or that pre-test, that post-test, what's the next step for you as a teacher? How do you really provide that support?
So as a teacher, I'm able to take that into my classroom. A lot of times I'm always looking at data and numbers, and we're able to take that information and pull them. I do a lot of remediation in my classroom at my small group table. If I see just a group of my own personal students that I teach, I'm able to do that. As a grade level though, we provide, of course, that intervention time, that RTI time.
Right.
And in that time, we are able to set up our classrooms and we individualize lessons to target these skills that are coming up. We gave a pre-test and they have to be able to do time on a number line. Many of our children struggled with that. So even prior to teaching it, we've pulled those students and they're already getting extra practice on understanding these concepts. So.
Well, I know you're just starting the curriculum, but what do you see, like, as this curriculum evolves? Like, what do you see happening?
So I really see our children becoming these mathematicians. They're math brains. And then thinking of math and how it applies across the content and even into their daily life. So much that I've been teaching, I'm like, and this is a science, or when you talk about number lines in social studies, and it's really opened up their eyes. I also see our students being able to just excel as they get to middle school and high school. And all these like scary algorithms and equations and things, they'll be able to accomplish these due to their concept and their conceptual understanding of the number.
Right.
Well, thank you. I think we're all excited, and all the teachers at the high school level, middle school level are ready for those teachers to develop that math brain, to develop that competency so that when they move on, they're going to be better prepared. Well, that's all the time we have. I'd like to thank our guests for taking the time out of their day to be on our show. If you'd like to learn more about the show or simply watch more of our programs, please visit www.gmtvonline.org. Until next time, this has been Superintendent Jason Manuel for this month's installment of the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence.